Have you ever been criticized? I mean, to the point where you feel horrible about yourself and you feel angry. In a relationship where the person's supposed to love and accept and cherish you, well, you're not alone. So many people feel judged and criticized, whether they're being put down or they're actually being called names or, in worst case scenarios, controlled and abused. We're going to be addressing what this judgmental attitude is all about.
Coach Drew. Coach Drew.
The reality is, nobody's perfect, and we all know this. However, when things are done and we don't have an appreciation for how they're done, or things that are said, and we expect better, often we become judgmental and our attitude shifts towards the other person. What is that really about? What is that really about? A lot of people think it's about expectations, and I agree. Because expectations are different than desires. And I talked about that in one of the other videos that I made some time ago. So check that out. I won't go into the details of all the differences. But when we have desires, there's nothing wrong with that. But our expectations, often when those expectations aren't met because they're unrealistic for the person, for the time, for the situation, then we become bitter and then we become critical. Now, some people say, you know what, just lower your standards. And that's not what I mean. I don't mean don't have any standards or lower your standards. I think having high standards are important. But being judgmental with those high standards, that doesn't work. It doesn't help anybody. So, in order to not be judgmental and still maintain high standards, it's really about what are we thinking about that person in our heads and what's going on in our hearts while we're being judgmental and critical and putting down that person. Even if it doesn't come out of our mouths, they know it. They feel it. I don't know about you, but I wasn't raised in an environment and a culture where constructive criticism was the thing to do, right? It was all or nothing. Either you were amazing or you were horrible. It was one or the other. Constructive criticism, to boil it down, you evaluate the situation. Yes, we all evaluate. Evaluation, judgment, two different things, okay? You evaluate the situation, you see something is lacking, something could be improved, okay? So when you're conveying constructive criticism, you start with the positive. You want to build the other person up. What aspect of what they have already done is good? What's good about them as a person? What do you appreciate, okay? You voice that first, and then you follow up with what you think could be a little bit better. This makes a lot of people uncomfortable, talking about what they think could be improved. But here's the thing, it's your opinion, okay? You're not talking about facts here. You're talking about your opinion. I think this would be a little bit better if this happened, or if you tried this. I think that would work out better. I would appreciate that, right? Then you ask them, what do they think? You're not the boss of anybody. You're not, right? You're not in control. In fact, we're gonna talk about control in the next video, but one of the ways to avoid trying to control somebody is by acknowledging that they are in control of themselves and that they have a choice. So part of constructive criticism is acknowledging that, to say, I think it'd be this way. What do you think? Get some feedback, make it a dialogue. And then at the end of that, you find something positive to say about them, about the experience, about, them being open to you, giving them your feedback. Okay, constructive feedback, that makes a difference. Now let's go back to some of the attitudes that we have. What is that about? Why would you be insulting this person? And I'm not criticizing you or putting you down for insulting or criticizing somebody, because I do it too. I do. But I'm aware. I'm aware that I'm not perfect. So before I let that stuff out my mouth, or before it comes through my face, because my face communicates volumes, I'm told, I get to think about that. I get to reel that back in and say, what's going on with me? What's going on with me? Am I tired? Am I frustrated? Is there something that I've been holding on to that I'm upset with this person about? Have I been not talking about this situation for a long time? Has there not been change in this situation for a long time? Because that can kind of build, right? So I'm responsible for me. The more I take care of that, the more immediately I respond to that, is the less judgmental and critical I'm going to be with other people. And on top of that, what's it like for you? How do you treat yourself when you do something that isn't up to standard or that's wrong? Like, do you criticize yourself? Do you say mean things about yourself? Were mean things said about you? Were you judged and criticized? Because if that's part of your experience, you've internalized that and you're basically spewing out what was poured on you. So it's important to look at that and address that. If you need some help with that, by all means, reach out to me. But in order to not be judgmental and not be critical, we get to do a few things. One, know ourselves well. Take good care of ourselves. Address that stuff on the inside. Two, use constructive criticism. And the third one is extend grace. Extend grace. Grace is a combination of empathy, forgiveness, understanding, but it all comes together in a disposition towards the people we care about. Doesn't mean that we turn a blind eye to things and just accept unacceptable behavior. But when we respond, we incorporate love and address it that way. So those are some of the things that you can do in order to stop being judgmental. Share your comments below, subscribe, like, share, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts and seeing you in the next video.